Who's ready to rock today, Fire Nation? JLD here, and I have an audio masterclass for you. Why? Well, we are in a digitally driven world. It's a reality. Love it or leave it. It's the truth. So today's audio masterclass is all about leveraging a powerful social media strategy in this digitally driven world. And to do that, I've brought Ryan White on the mic. He's a seven-figure digital entrepreneur, influencer, investor, press contributor, and speaker. And he founded the globally recognized social media marketing company, Social Revelation, which helps businesses and personal brands increase their digital footprint and brand awareness online. In Fire Nation, we have some killer topics we're going to be running through today that's going to help you in every single part of your digitally driven business. So let's do this as soon as we get back from thanking our sponsor. Big shout out to ClickFunnels for sponsoring today's episode. Fire Nation, ClickFunnels gives you everything you need to market, sell, and deliver your products online without having to hire or rely on a tech team. Visit eofire.com/click for your free 14-day trial of ClickFunnels. That's eofire.com/click. Your future awaits. Ryan, say what's up to Fire Nation and share something interesting about yourself that most people don't know.
What's up, Fire Nation? And an interesting fun fact about myself that most people probably don't know is I'm actually from a small town in Georgia called Lakeland, Georgia. The town itself actually has about 3,500 people, and there's not even a red light in the entire town itself. We actually only have a stop sign in front of our courthouse. And to kind of take it a step further, my graduating high school class only had about 92 students, which kind of gives me the funny privilege of being able to call myself the salutatorian of the class of 2008.
That's really cool stuff. And I can resonate personally. I'm from a town of 2,000 people. And I can remember so clearly coming home from college one day and there was a stoplight in my town for the first time ever. I'm like, when did they put this in? I can actually now say that I have one stoplight in my town. This is so cool.
That is awesome. People don't understand like how significant that is unless you come from a smaller town. It's funny because the town I actually live in, I remember the first time we got a McDonald's. And what's funny about this particular McDonald's, which is probably the only one in the entire nation, but it's not even 24-hour service because our town is so small. But I just remember it was literally chaos the day that McDonald's opened.
Oh, man, we are decades away from our first McDonald's, I can tell you that. But good for you guys. I'm glad to hear it. But Fire Nation, as I alluded to in the intro, we have a killer audio masterclass with a true expert in the industry. We're going to be talking about leveraging a powerful social media strategy in a digitally driven world. And within this whole genre, we're going to be focusing on Instagram. And I can tell you right now, Fire Nation, Instagram is by far and away, I mean, there's literally not even a close second. Instagram is my personal number one social media platform. I love it. It has been that way for some time now. It's literally where my best engagement comes with my listeners, with you, Fire Nation. I mean, the conversations that I've had with so many of my listeners and just other people via DM, direct messaging on Instagram is absolutely unreal. The stories, I was able to take so many of you on my 65-day European trip I just got back with, which is super cool. Then engage you guys in those ways as well. There's just so much power in Instagram, no matter what industry or niche you're in. And we're going to be talking about how you can master Instagram and create a powerful social media strategy for this platform, Instagram, in this digitally driven world that we live in. So Ryan, let's just start with the basics. Then we're going to kind of build up as we go to kind of more detailed technical stuff. And of course, Fire Nation, we're going to end with a bang called monetization, because there's a serious way to monetize. And I actually have a pretty cool story myself that we haven't talked about, Ryan, but I'll be interested to get your feedback on.
Sure.
And we're going to have so much fun doing this. So let's just start with the basics again. How do we properly set up our bio to be really appealing to people on Instagram and to generate more reach?
I feel like most of my clients constantly get this wrong, so it's kind of good to start off with this little segment. So the biggest thing that I notice is people can kind of get all over the place with their bio, and there's not really a clear, concise, and to the point kind of intro there. You know, so when a lead comes to your page, your bio is 100% the first thing that people are actually going to take notice of, and they're going to, from that bio, draw a perception of you from that point, from reading your bio. So the biggest thing you want to do is capitalizing on this section. And so, for instance, if you're a 7-figure earner, we need to put it in there, right? I know so many times the clients of mine are 7-8-figure earners, but if you go to their Instagram page, there's nothing in there relevant to the fact that they are actually a multimillionaire. And, people like to connect. And so the point is if you're a 7-8-figure earner, put it in there. Let people know what you do, and you're going to reap the rewards from that. Also, you want to make sure that in your bio that you have a nice point of contact. And what I mean by that is basically having, you can drop a little email emoji in your bio and make sure that you have, an email there that brands can reach out and contact you if they want to collaborate and partner up and all those sorts of things. And I want to kind of just mention a little quick security discussion right here, because I see people kind of get this wrong a lot. And with hacking on the rise on social media platforms, one thing that we kind of mention in our course, we'll elaborate more on it there, but you want to make sure that your back-end email actually under the settings of your profile is actually different than the front-end email. And so you can imagine, if people were to just click email on your page and it pops up your email and that in fact is the email that's kind of tied to your account, well, once they hack that email, they can actually gain access to your account. And so to avoid that, just make sure that your front-end email is different from your back-end email. And then, the final point that I want to mention as far as bios is there's so many tools out there that you can actually leverage to do quite a number of things. And so for me, if you go to my page, at Ryan White, you'll see that I actually leverage a tool called Linktree. And so what Linktree allows you to do is you turn the one link that Instagram allows you to have, and you can actually turn that one link into multiple links. And so what's cool about this feature is, you can leverage Linktree several different ways, so for myself, I use it to drive people to my website, to drive them to my ebooks. You can create landing pages for people to go to. You can sell impulse buys for people. And then of course, you can direct people to, follow your other social media channels like Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat.
So these are all incredible points, Fire Nation. And again, the beauty of podcasts, if you want to rewind, come back and listen to these a couple more times, you can do just that. But of course, everything that we talk about, all the tools and the software and the hacks and the tactics are going to be in the show notes page. So make sure you check that out too. But just kind of recap a few things that Ryan talked about. Number one, do you have that point of contact on your profile, on your page, your email?
Exactly.
And you got to make sure that the front end's not the same as the back end, because you don't want that hacking possibility. So just make sure it's different. Make sure that the email that people can see isn't the one that you're using to sign in to Instagram. That's so critical. And one thing about the profile, let's just remember, you get one link. And I probably got this from you, honestly, Ryan, because I'm using it too. And I've been using it for a few months now. And that is Linktree. I've been using Linktree, and it's critical, Fire Nation. So think back, maybe before I was using Linktree, I could be like, hey, if you want to learn how to podcast, go to freepodcastcourse.com. That could be the one link I had. But now I can say, hey, I have a bunch of free courses. Click on the link below and you can check out all my free courses. So they click on that link, and now through Linktree, it pops up and there's free podcast course. There's your big idea. There's my free webinar course. There's all the free courses right there in this one incredibly mobile, responsive, it's beautiful ways that people can just click on it. And I can also just put, hey, subscribe to my podcast below. And so many people make the mistake when they say subscribe to my podcast below of just linking to Apple, iTunes. And guess what? Not everybody has an iPhone. Not everybody uses Mac. So now I have it open up into a Linktree where it's Apple iTunes, where it's Stitcher, where it's Spotify, where it's Pandora. They can click, they can choose whichever one they want to use. So maybe people love Pocket Cast, with that app. So they can choose the actual way that they listen to the podcast. It's so much better. So just a recap there, Fire Nation, just Google Linktree. You'll be able to go through it, check it out. It is critical to see and very important to use. I personally love it. Now, Ryan, one thing that I see people just don't do enough, and I actually have a specific question I want to follow up with after you kind of go through this the first time, and that is hashtags, because you can utilize hashtags very effectively for more exposure, but there's a right way to do it. There's a wrong way to do it. So talk to us about hashtags. What is their purpose? How do you do it right? How do you do it wrong?
For sure. So Instagram, the platform itself, is kind of categorized by these hashtags. And so, for instance, if I was to go onto the platform and I wanted to search and only find photos that pertain to baseball, I could go type in hashtag baseball and click that hashtag, and it's going to categorize every single photo that was uploaded to its platform with people using that particular hashtag. So hashtag baseball on their photos, that they would land there. And so the cool thing is just knowing how to properly leverage these. A lot of people kind of miss the boat on this. And so, we actually provide hashtag utilization and research for our clients that come over to us. But some major points I want to hit with hashtags is just, number one, we want to diversify. And by diversify, I mean, we want to kind of take the 30 hashtags that Instagram allows us to have. So if you don't know this, Instagram only gives you 30 hashtags that you can kind of leverage, on a particular post. And then you want to take those 30 and you want to break them down. So kind of my rule of thumb to people is, we want to create, 10 hashtags with over 5 million hits. And of course, we want these hashtags to be within, a relative niche. So if we're posting a baseball photo, we want to make sure we're putting tags in that pertain to baseball. Same with entrepreneurship. We want to make sure that we're using entrepreneurship and digital marketing hashtags if we're an entrepreneur and posting that sort of content. But the biggest thing is, 10 tags over 5 million hits within your niche. And then we want to break it down again into another layer of 10 hashtags between 250,000 hits to about 5 million hits. So we're kind of hitting the layer right beneath that 5 million. And then kind of the third tier is we want to have 10 hashtags that are less than 250,000 hits. And by hits, I just mean how many uploads, have been sent into that particular tag. So, and if you just click the hashtag, it will show you, there's a clear number there that you can see how many people actually uploaded with that hashtag. And so, again, just to recap, we want to have 10 over 5 million, 10 between 250,000 up to 5 million, and then 10 less than 250. And then kind of the little last thing that I tell people to kind of is just create maybe 3 to 5 hashtags kind of geared to your brand. So for, let's just say, Entrepreneurs on Fire, you could brand the hashtag, Fire Nation. And so every time you reach out to people and have them repost something, you could have them hashtag Fire Nation. And that's a cool little way that you can kind of just build popularity around your brand. So it's just branding and coining specific hashtags for you. And the reason we do this, so it goes a little bit deeper than just, because people ask me all the time, well, why do I want to have this particular strategy? How does it help me? So, we want to make sure that we hit each tier, because if, for instance, hits or hashtags that have over 5 million hits, those are very, very, very popular. They're getting uploaded all the time. It is very hard to get in what is considered the top 9 posts for that particular hashtag. And so if you go to a hashtag, you're going to see it's kind of broken down into 2 sections. The top section being, top 9 posts, and then below that you have your most recent. So, again, for you to kind of rank high in that hashtag, you can be featured in those top 9 posts, but with 5 million hits or more, it's very, very, very hard to do that, especially if you're kind of a smaller account. But we want to make sure that we include them, because if we do land in one of those top 9, your exposure that you're going to get from landing in one of those is going to just, produce massive rewards. And then again, we want to have 250,000 hits to 5 million hits, simply because it's a lot easier to get in the top 9. So instead of just, hoping to get, and have one of my tags rank in the over 5 million, here we may be able to get 2 or 3 of our hashtags where we're in the top 9 of that particular tag. And so exposure again is massive. And then obviously, anything under 250, again, it's just really a lot easier to become in that top 9 under 250,000 hits, because again, it's just not as popular. And so it's an easier way, like if people go to that tag, to get noticed inside the top 9. But at the same time, if you do land one of the tags or one of your posts on the tags with over 5 million hits, I mean, you could probably gain a few thousand followers from that. So that's kind of how I tell my clients to kind of break down their hashtag research.
Wow, a lot of great stuff here, Fire Nation. Let me recap a few things. Number one, think about the diversification. You want to diversify. And a quick question for you, Ryan, before I kind of continue this recap is, are these hashtag hits total, or are they over the last week, over the last month? Like, where are those numbers coming from?
Yeah, so it's total hits. If you go to any tag at all, you're going to see a total number of hit for the lifespan of that particular tag. I think something crazy like hashtag wedding has like over 72 million lifetime hits. So my point is, if you were trying trying to get in the top 9 of the hashtag for wedding, you're going to need some major influence and virality to make that happen.
Okay, good stuff. So Fire Nation, you get 30 hashtags per post. That's the max. So you want around 10 to be over 5 million hits. You want another around 10 to be between 250,000 up to 5 million, and then another around 10 less than 250,000 hits, and then use like 3 to 5 if you can and you want, if you're trying to build a personal brand for that personal branding. Quick question, because I used to use my iPhone text replacement as a great way. So I used to have #A, #B, #C, #C, #D, all this stuff. When I would type that out on my iPhone, it would then text expand to those 30 ones that I always wanted to use and to rotate. So it was a great way for me to do that quickly and effectively. However, the new iPhone update, that's not doing it anymore. I'm not quite sure why. I honestly haven't spent too much time. But so if text replacement is not working, do you have any other tools to like really quickly save those 30 hashtags and upload them?
Yeah, 100%. So I actually just learned something from you, John, which is actually kind of cool because it makes perfect sense when you said it. But for me, the way that I do it is I just use my notes section inside my iPhone. So if you go in and kind of just type out your 30 tags, and you can kind of break them down again however you want to do it. But what I do is I bring up my Instagram app, and then I'll actually go and copy and paste from my notes section of my iPhone and then paste them in to the Instagram app. That's how I do it to just save time.
Yeah, I think it's going to come back and it'll be like it used to be. I'm not sure why this latest update kind of blocked it out, but it was pretty easy, pretty awesome. I could just literally just type as in a comment #A and boom, all those 30 hashtags would just pop out. So I don't have to like go out of Instagram or do anything else, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is awesome.
What I kind of want to talk about now is, we are doing this because we want attention. We want people to look at our photos, at our videos, people to like them, people to comment, people to engage, people to do all the things. So how do we actually get more attention when we're posting to our Instagram feed?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the biggest thing is just, having a clear vision and knowing your niche. Again, a very common problem I see with clients who come to us, they're kind of all over the place with their posting. And so if a client comes to me and I take a look at their feed, I need to be able to have an instant connection and know what particular niche that the client is in. Because if I don't have that connection, then a future potential follower coming to that page is not going to have that connection. So the biggest thing we want to do is have vision, know where we're going, kind of know what we want our feed to look like, not only today, but in 2 weeks and, 30, 60, 90 days, and then get real clear on what your niche is. And so the second point is just being consistent. And by consistency, I mean, just taking the time to, at worst case scenario, be posting at least once every 3 to 4 days. I try to push my clients into posting daily because the Instagram algorithm actually rewards your activity. Of course, they want people to be on their platform, using their stuff. So, how do they kind of incentivize that? People who are posting daily, and even this is why you see bigger brands posting even, 2 to 4 times per day, is because they actually can reach Explore page and kind of go viral a lot easier because they're getting rewarded in the algorithm for their activity.
Is there too much though? Is there too much?
There definitely is. And so, kind of one little point. I was going to kind of touch on this later, but that was a great question, so we'll jump into it. But we want to make sure that we're having, obviously quality over quantity. And so a rule of thumb that I give my clients is if you're under 10,000 followers, post once per day. If you're between 10,000 followers and about 100,000 followers, you can post up to twice per day. And then, of course, if you're bigger than 100,000 followers, you can kind of get up to that 3 to 4 posts per day range. And the reason for this is, if you only have 10,000 followers and you're posting 4 to 6 times per day, you're just bombarding, those people with the same content. Every time they scroll through their feed, they're seeing you, and it's just it pushes people away. And so we want to make sure that we're doing quality over quantity. But to me, for the mass majority of accounts, posting once per day is going to be perfect, and it just goes back to that, the algorithm does reward activity. And, I want to mention here, because I get asked all the time, well, how am I supposed to structure my feed to make it look good, And so I like to give an example here. and kind of what I do and even my fiance does on her page. So you can break your columns down to different categories. And so, for instance, you could have one column that's personal. You're posting personal things about your lifestyle. You could have a middle column, about motivational quotes or just motivational videos that you come across. And then, you could have a third column about your business. So anything related to business, you can kind of put in there. So let's take my page for an example. I'm in kind of digital entrepreneurship. So, column one, I post, activities that I do, my lifestyle stuff, activities, hobbies, all that good sort of stuff. And then, second column, I post motivational quotes, obviously just to encourage and inspire, other digital entrepreneurs who land on the page. And then my third column is anything business related. So if I get a new article, I get a new podcast, that column is kind of tiered towards that. And it just gives me structure and it gives me vision and it gives me consistency. And so, if you do that with your own page, it's going to be a lot easier down the road to stick to that theme.
Okay, so I really want to move into stories, aka the Snapchat killer, because it's a really interesting topic. But before we do move into it, I just want to make sure that you don't have anything more to share just about the drawing attention to your posting feed, because this is really critical. I love the column idea. I mean, that's something actually that I have not been utilizing enough that I want to, but I want to really have some time for stories, but I want to make sure we close this topic out first.
For sure. I think the final thought in this section is just, research your competitors and kind of model what you see working for them. As with most businesses, don't try to reinvent the wheel. Just do a little recon on people maybe in your industry who are killing it and just kind of model what they're doing.
Yeah, and a lot of times, Fire Nation, when you find somebody who's killing it, quote unquote, then why don't you just identify, well, how can I actually do that better? How can I go one step up? Like, how can I find what they're doing and just add a little more fire of whatever I'm doing to that? So awesome last tip. Let's shift to the stories now, because this is, again, a great way that you can really connect with your audience multiple times per day. In fact, I think my stories today are over 20 as we're sitting right now, and you're not posting too many because, you're just letting people have these 15-second snapshots of that part of your day. And again, when I was traveling 65 days in Europe, so many of my audience was just loving jumping on my story feed and checking out, Rome and Vienna and Bratislava and Budapest and Edinburgh and the cruise ship that I was on, like all these different places I was there. I was able to bring my audience with me on those. And again, it wasn't intrusive because you only had to check it out if you wanted to check it out. You have to actually click on my face on my Instagram feed to watch my stories. You can skip through them. If the 15 seconds is too long for you, you can do all the different things. But to me, stories are so much fun. They give you a lot of cool options. There's swipe up features. There's a bunch of other stuff. So Ryan, you're the expert here. Let me turn it over to you. Give us a breakdown, just starting from square one, but then quickly get up to some really cool tactics about what are stories, why are they awesome, and what's the best ways that we can utilize them.
For sure. So stories is nothing more to me than, kind of giving you a behind the scenes look into your business or your lifestyle. What I love about it is it speaks connection, and people like connection. It's awesome that you have 20,000, views on your story because, again, people connect to you. They want to they feel like they're a part of your life.
I didn't say I had 20,000 views. Let me rephrase. I have 20 actual posts to my stories today because my kind of point all that was with Instagram, you want to max out at 1 to 2 per day, like you said, for whatever area you're at. But with stories, you can just go, oh, I'm by the pool. Oh, I'm upstairs. So I have like 20 different, snaps of, I call them snaps. That's how good Snapchat did. But 20 different, stories that are on my feed right now because my audience can choose to watch or not. So I have 20 of them, right? Some days I may have 5. Some days I may have 40.
Gotcha. And yes, and that's a great point. And I apologize for the miscommunication there. I was on my bad. But but yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about stories is sometimes it's hard for people to post daily, like we talked about. They're like, well, I don't have enough content, or it's just tough for me to create the time to go and make a quality post. With stories, it kind of frees you up from that because, there is really no limitations on how many stories you can post. And so we kind of get into that, daily story usage versus your daily feed posting, because although I may not be able to post every single day, one thing I can most definitely do is upload a story and even multiple stories because it takes, 15 seconds to do so. And so, it's a great way to, again, give people a behind the scenes look. It gives them great connection to you as a person and if you're a brand, it's a great way to kind of mix the behind the scenes faces to, and not people not just see kind of a logo, and they can actually kind of connect, because people just are more relatable to people than actual brands or logos the majority of the time. And so that's a really cool way that you can kind of leverage stories. And then again, if you want to kind of learn how to increase story views, obviously it's utilizing the tools that Instagram allows you, because again, Instagram rewards activity. So you want to make sure you're using hashtags, you're using a geolocation. You want to make sure that you're using polls and Q&As and all these tools that Instagram provides for you, because if you use them, they're going to reward you in showing it to more people for doing so. And then a nice little trick that I tell people as well, and I just kind of recently stumbled upon this little trick about 2 months ago, but you can type out on your story hashtags the same way you can with a feed. And so for me, when I post, I may hashtag, entrepreneur, entrepreneurship, entrepreneur life, digital marketing, social media tips. And then what's beautiful about it is I can even add an Atlanta, Georgia location, and I can make those things really, really, really small. And then I can actually overlay on top of that a Q&A or a poll, and it'll actually remain hid on my story. But in fact, it works the same way as if you posted it on a normal feed post. And so it's cool because it just exposes you to that, many more people, can find you and see you through the hashtag utilization. And it works the same way as a feed post. But I notice most people just post a story and they never really leverage the hashtag usage or the
I don't at all.
Usage.
And that's such a brilliant idea. And I never thought about it. And Fire Nation, this is why we talk to people like this and we listen to people like this, because, this is what Ryan does. He sits around and he, fumbles around, stumbles around, and he stumbles across something awesome because he's just doing the thing. He's living the world every single day. And then boom, he's doing it. And it just kind of made me chuckle a little bit, because when he was talking about putting 30 hashtags in a story, then shrinking it down to a tiny bit and then hiding it behind something else. What is that? That's called 1996, when you would actually write the word, sports a million times in white on the back of your homepage, and then you would make the actual page white so nobody could see it. But now what are you doing? You're ranking for the word sport, because that's how the algorithm used to work. So you stay cutting edge, you learn from people who are doing it right and are doing it right now. And guess what? That may go away at some point, but now it's not. So utilize it, leverage it, grow your audience, bring people in, and create great content. So Ryan, before we move on to the next topic, what do you want to really close down on this whole story feature?
With stories, the final thoughts here is just really leveraging the swipe up. So we didn't talk a whole lot about swipe up, but swipe up just, again, allows you so much opportunity. You can lead people to external links, landing pages. You can even build email lists through this. You can do shout outs, paid shout outs through this. And then again, it's just a great way as far as, even monetization. And we'll kind of talk about that again in a later segment. But, swipe up feature, you must be using this every single time if you're over 10,000 followers. So I just want to throw that in there. You get the swipe up feature once you reach 10K.
Yes, you got to get to that 10K, Fire Nation. Make that a goal. And how are you going to get that? Well, you're following the strategies that Ryan and I are talking about today. You're going to post quality images. You're going to do it, often. You're going to be consistent. Do it at least daily. You're going to use hashtags. You're going to do all of these things. You're going to get to 10,000, and then you're going to unlock all these cool new features. And Fire Nation, if you think all the value bombs have been dropped in this episode, you are dead wrong. We're going to come back after we thank our sponsor with more fire bombs. So we will be right back. Did you know 83% of happy customers are willing to leave a review, but only 23% actually do? It's because nobody asks. I know I'm not the only one who always looks for reviews before trying out something new. Reviews are critical for your business when it comes to winning over new and future customers. So why not take control of your online reputation with a platform that will help you give your customers a voice? That platform is called Podium. Podium not only notifies you when new reviews go live for your business, it also helps you generate more reviews so you get found, get chosen, and get insights. Plus, Podium users see a 6% increase in revenue just from reviews. Reviews matter. The way you show up online determines who shows up at your door. Visit podium.com/fire for 10% off your monthly subscription. Become the obvious choice online. Visit podium.com/fire to get started and save 10%. So Ryan, we are back, and something that I honestly have failed miserably at. I mean, I think I have 2 total right now. And it just kind of bothers me because I just know there's potential and possibility and opportunity here. IGTV. So Instagram brought this to our world, and it's there, and I don't even really know how it's doing in general. Like, are people succeeding at it? How are they succeeding at it? So, just like you did with stories, take us back to what it is, how you use it, how you think people should use it, pros and cons. Let's hear about IGTV.
For sure. So I tell people when it comes to IGTV, kind of think YouTube. So, the same way that Instagram pulled stories from Snapchat, they pulled this IGTV feature from YouTube. It's just another way, that Instagram's trying to kind of become a major player in every single segment when it comes to digital marketing. And so when thinking similar to YouTube, Instagram's kind of future goal is they will be paying per views for ad space on your IGTV if you're reaching a big enough audience. And so right now, because it is so new, it is a great time to kind of get a head start on this particular feature, because not a lot of people are doing it. You see YouTube influencers all over the place, but you see few and far between people who are actually leveraging and doing it successfully, the IGTV. I know right now a few bloggers, major bloggers that my fiance and I follow, and they're reaching 100 to 250,000 views on their IGTV, and it just goes to show that if they're not already, they're going to make massive sums of revenue just from this IGTV. And so when I'm speaking with people, of course, we always like to give takeaways. And so they ask me, well, how can I, really leverage? What are some ways that I could leverage this IGTV? And so one thing that I like to do is I like to kind of focus on my IGTV as like a little mini series, which we can kind of host interviews. And for you, John, it would be really, really easy because you can kind of use it to host podcasts. And so think of it as if I did an interview with someone once a week, that could be considered a new episode on my IGTV. And kind of the same for you with podcasts. You could easily kind of put your excerpts or kind of promotional little videos for your podcast inside your IGTV, and it would blow up for sure.
Do you have any recommendations? Like, I just love the tools that people can use where they have like the images and then there's like the audio waves going over it, or just video editor tools and softwares that you recommend. I mean, is there anything that you use to like get this 10-minute video like looking good, sounding good?
We use a couple different things. I have an app that's called Fonto. And you can do pretty much anything and everything with that. And we kind of leverage a little bit of Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom to kind of create like our headers and our cover photos, if you will, for this. But I've come to find that most people, again, connect with video. I think video draws in like an extra 65% more engagement than a normal photo. So, if you just can capture video in a special way, especially if you're traveling the world the way that you are, John, it would just be amazing, to post some of that stuff on your IGTV. And I think as far as virality goes, it's going to just take off for you.
So Fonto, is that Fonto?
It is Phonto.
Glad I asked. Fonto, Fire Nation, Phonto. So, yes. Ryan, let's keep the chat going because we are just building and growing into an amazing conversation when it comes to scaling and growing more effectively, more efficiently. So let's talk about that now. Let's talk about scaling and growing and leveraging everything that we're doing, because we talked about the bio, the feed, the stories, IGTV. How do we pull this all together and just keep growing?
For sure. So the biggest thing when people ask me, how do I grow faster, is really, number one, you got to understand there's going to be work involved. Although a lot of people kind of look for the shortcut, unfortunately, to be successful, you're going to have to do a little bit of work. But we want to make sure that the work we're putting in is obviously directly correlated with us being able to grow in the most effective manner. And so one way to do that is we want to make sure that we're interacting with our target niche. If we're in a specific area, we could also interact with people within our community, right? Our geolocation. And we want to make sure that obviously we're going in and we're doing this manually. Right now, there's a huge rise in just automation softwares that Instagram's trying to pull the plug on. They're constantly locking down on this stuff. So like with our team, we have a team of people who are in direct management with your account. And what we're doing is we're taking your account, if you're a niche page, so say you're an online boutique and you're selling e-commerce, or through e-commerce, we could basically interact with people in that community who would be interested in, if it's gym closed, we could make sure we're interacting with athletes and people who are in the fitness world, CrossFit, those sorts of things, and direct those people, back to your page for sales. Same thing if you're in a say Atlanta, Georgia, you're in a particular geolocation, and I have a brick and mortar business, so a gym in downtown Atlanta. I could do the same thing. I could make sure that I'm going out. I could search for the geo tag Atlanta, Georgia, and then I want to make sure that I'm just basically spending my time there to interact with people. And interact can mean, several different things. I could follow the account. I could drop them a like or a comment, and I could even, send them a personable DM in hopes, to create a quality relationship there. Another thing that I like to do is, I like to build what I call network and community groups. And so what that basically means for me is, I'm in the entrepreneurship field. So of course, I'm not the only person on Instagram who wants to grow and is in the entrepreneurship niche. So, through that, I went and networked through the space with other people who are kind of similar in terms of follower count as myself. And, we can create a what we call, again, a community group of, say, 10 influencers that have around, 250,000 followers, which is kind of where I'm at. And it's just basically using the power of network and community to, every time that I would make a post, I could have these people come in, and leave again, there has to be interest there. There needs to be genuine interest, and they need to be within your niche for this to work properly. But we could have those accounts come in, and like my photo when I upload it. In return for when they post, I could go in and like their photo as well. And then you could do the exact same things with comments. And so it's a neat little way to kind of scale, because I don't know how many people know this, but a huge player in the Instagram algorithm to reach Explore page is basically, quick engagement in a short period of time, 15 to 30 minutes after you actually upload a post. So by creating these community groups, these manual community groups, you can actually really scale yourself to the Explore page, pretty often. Actually, I've gotten kind of to the point to where almost every single post I make reaches the Explore page for at least some period of time. And then, of course, we have a couple other ways that we can grow, but I don't know if you kind of want to kind of recoup what we just talked about there, John.
Yes, do a real quick recoup. And I think you just said such a good message, which is there's no real shortcuts, Fire Nation. Like, you need to put in the work. So be careful with automation and the promise of like, hey, install the software or click this button. And before you know it, like, you're going to have 1 million followers. Like, you need to do this right. You need to do this manually. Otherwise, all your time, all your efforts could be for naught, because Instagram may pull the plug. So just do it right. And I really loved what you had to say about the Explore page. So something to definitely think about and explore yourself, Fire Nation, because that can be super cool for a lot of different ways. And of course, we promise monetization. We're going to finish strong with monetization. But before we do, Ryan, what else do you want to share on this topic?
The biggest thing, kind of final thoughts again, is just, study the algorithm. Look and see what accounts seem to almost be reaching Explore and going viral over and over and over again. Reach out to those people, try to give them something of value instead of just saying, hey, how do you do what you do? But try to, really engage in a real conversation with those people and see if you can kind of collect, their thought process and some of the methods that they're doing in order to kind of go viral each and every time. And if you do this, you'll be surprised how many people want to actually help you do the same exact thing that they're doing. And, again, there's just so many ways. I have a little quick story here.
Let's hear it.
Very quick story, but I've actually had a celebrity type figure that I actually just shot a quick DM to one time and just asked, I tried to give them some value of basically going in and saying, hey, they were actually kind of in the digital publication world. So I said, hey, do you mind if I help you out? I know you're probably super busy when it comes to, time each and every day, but I'd be more than happy to write a 300 to 500 word, little article for you. I actually contribute for Forbes in exchange for, some value from your end. And it was fun. Oddly enough, they were like, of course, this is great that you sent this. Timing is perfect because I actually have a load on my plate, 3 or 4 articles that I'm writing, would love to see what you can do. And so in exchange for me literally delivering a little 300 to 500, word article, kind of like a draft for them, which probably took me, 20 minutes to a half hour, I actually got a shout out promotion on this page with like 4 million followers, which was super, super cool. And it was just massive results again for my brand. So it just shows that, just putting in work always leads to great results. It's just the Grant Cardone thing. 10x energy will lead you to results.
Fire Nation, you need to think outside the box. Don't just do the same thing that everybody else is doing. Work hard, uncover different opportunities, explore them, see how they work out, and always be working hard and doubling down. So we're getting to the last topic, Ryan, which is monetization. And there's definitely a lot of ways to monetize. I'll share my quick story that I kind of teased a little bit earlier. I had Dove's Men Soap reach out to me, and they were doing a campaign. It was called something about, the 5 to 9, meaning like 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Like for people that, work hard and work long, like you need to stay clean and stay fresh. So it was like Dove Soap was doing a campaign for that. And they said, hey, we've identified your page. We think you'd be a great influencer for this. What are your rates to do something like this? And we had never actually been approached. This is well over a year ago now, but we had never been approached to be an influencer on this kind of level. And so Kay sat down, I sat down, we kind of chatted about it. And she's like, yeah, well, this would be something cool we can really share with our audience. So, how about we offer something that's reasonable so they'll say yes, and then we can go forward. And she's like, let's do $300. I'm like, I'm worried if we do that, we're just not, we're selling ourselves kind of short a little bit here. So she came back and she was like, okay, well, what do you want to do? I said, let's just go for the moon. Let's say 10K for that post. It was going to be one Instagram post. And, Dove came back to like, listen, our absolute max per influencer is $7,500. Would you accept it? So we were like, yes, let's do it. Let's lock it in. And we went forward and we worked with them.
Wow.
And we had a great experience. But again, if they had come back and been like, yeah, would you do a 1,000 or two? We would have had really strongly considered. But sometimes you just shoot for the moon, Fire Nation. You never know what's going to happen. And then you just kind of figure things out along the way. So that was our experience. It was a really good one. We ended up working really hard to get a lot of exposure to that post. So I think it worked out well for Dove as well. So, we may see them or work with their agency in the future. Who knows? But that's just one of the incredible, huge number of ways to monetize a platform like Instagram. Because, I'm always driving swipe ups to like my webinars, my courses, my free stuff, my pay stuff, all the different areas you can do, JVs, etc. But Ryan, you're the expert. Take it away for Fire Nation, for our listeners who, honestly at this point are probably under 10,000 followers currently. And what can they do to really maybe start generating some revenue?
Yeah, for sure. So, by the way, great story, John. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
I love to hear testimonies. And just kind of taking that a step further and kind of talking about personal testimony on my side with brand collaboration. So Fire Nation, again, brand collaborations is huge. It really doesn't matter, how big you are, because brands are starting to kind of leverage and utilize micro influencers a lot more now here in 2018 and moving into 2019. And so personally for myself, we do monthly collaborations with Major League Baseball, actually. And then there's a brand, it's called NeuroGum, and it's basically just B12 and kind of caffeine in a bite-sized gum, and it's kind of become a part of my daily life. That's what I was actually chewing, John, before we started this podcast. But again, it's just reaching out to brands that you believe in. And there's plenty of platforms. To mention a few, you have what's called for.com, which is FOHR.com. Revfluence is another one. And then, a third one being Upfluence. And so platforms like this, there's a ton of them out there. But in essence, you upload your profile and, they take analytics and everything to make sure everything's legit, for brands. And then brands can come in and they can almost shop influencers and see who they would like to partner with and pay to actually put up a paid promo on your particular page. And so again, brand collaborations is huge when it comes to monetization. And then a second way that you can actually monetize the space is shout outs from smaller brands. So, again, even at 10K, you would be surprised at 10,000 followers how many people who are in your same niche would be happy to pay you for a shout out. Even if it's $25, $25 is a lot. And when it comes to wind in your sails, to get you moving, right? It's a momentum builder. And so, don't kind of take it for granted that, I can only make $25, because in the beginning, I was only making $25 a post, and it's kind of turned into where now, I'm getting upwards of $2,500 for a post and 3 stories. So it's just pretty cool. So definitely make sure that you're kind of reaching out to smaller pages within your niche and just asking if they would be interested, in doing a shout out on your page. The third way that you can monetize the space is email list building, and this is a little bit more kind of advanced, but it's not overbearing by any stretch. So again, it's just really taking advantage of kind of the highlight section in your bio, and if you are 10K and above, using swipe ups to really build your email list. Take them to a landing page, and give them maybe a free ebook. Take time to create a free gift of value that is a half hour to 30, 30 minutes to an hour. It may take you to say, put together this gift, but, in exchange that for, a lead's email and build your email list, because if they sign up to your email, you can leverage that for retargeting campaigns, and then again, establish credibility. And you can even, build drip feed follow-ups and kind of, nurture that lead over a 7 to 14 day period, which is what we do. A fourth way that you can monetize the space is what's called affiliate marketing, or become a brand ambassador. There are tons of brands out there which are looking to kind of have affiliates and brand ambassadors for their company. So what is affiliate marketing, if you're not familiar, or a brand ambassador? It's just basically you getting behind ABC brand. And so if ABC brand is a clothing line, it's just basically you going out and promoting them in exchange for a percentage of sales if someone were to buy because you sent them there. And so that's a really easy way. Another way is what's called, I actually kind of coined this after a good friend of mine who helped me build our Instagram course that we'll be talking about a little bit later, but it's called the Alex Lombard method. He actually coined this, and it's basically building a network, a kind of like a network community group like we discussed prior, but it's really building a network of influencers who have obviously credible audience, credible followers, and just leveraging all of them together for one paid promo. And so kind of the way it works is, say your brand is interested in doing a growth campaign, we could go out and take a portion of the revenue from that, and would say, instead of just spending that amount on one brand that say has 2 million followers, imagine if we broke that down into 10 pages that had 500,000 followers, and we all got them to post the same kind of ad on the same day at the same exact time. Imagine the amount of traffic flow that it would create for that brand. And so that's another cool way, because again, you can even pay for, if you're not opposed to investing in your page growth, you could do the same thing for your page. You could create a nice little call to action. Hey, go to this page, check them out, follow them, whatever it may be. And then instead of just going to one page and paying a large sum of money for that, kind of break it down into 10 influencers and have them posted on the same day at the same time. And I'm telling you, we've just had massive results with this method. And so if you want to kind of stop right here and recoup, John, we can kind of touch on the last 2 points.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just ran through it. And again, Fire Nation, the beauty of podcasts, hit that rewind button if you want. Go through and learn exactly what Ryan's talking about, because there's only so much that we can go over in a 45-minute interview. There's only so much that you can take in right now, Fire Nation, when you're on your run, when you're driving the car, when you're in an airplane
exactly.
right now, like, trying to sleep against the window, like whatever you're doing right now, there's only so much you can take in. And so for those of us, Ryan, that want to take this to the next level, that want to learn more and better ways how to monetize, more and better ways on how to grow and how to scale, more and better ways how to use IGTV and stories and increase our profile and our hashtags, like everything we've talked about, you have a pretty awesome call to action for those people who are listening that want to take it to the next level. Let's hear that.
For sure. So we have a special little offer for obviously the Fire family here. We're actually giving 50% off to our Instagram mastery course that we filmed. Yes, I know, pretty crazy. We were like, are we actually going to do this? Yeah, we love the Fire family. Let's make it happen. And so anyway, we're actually taking pre-orders for our course. So we're dropping our course officially on January 1st, 2019. And so the offer for you guys is you can go to officialmasterycourse.com/fire, and you can sign up for our course there and pre-order it for 50% off. This offer is valid through December the 31st of 2018. And again, I just want people to know we spent a full 1 week of where we kind of stepped away from our full-time job and really shot footage. A good friend of mine, Alex Lombard, flew out from Scottsdale, Arizona, stayed with me here in Atlanta, Georgia for a week, and we shot this. And when we originally designed it, it was to be 100% transparent and literally hand people the blueprint on exactly the tips and strategies that we use every single day, to literally do 6, 7, and even 8 figures in income we've had people do through leveraging these tips. And what's cool is Alex has been able to build a network of over 1 million followers, and I myself in 18 months have went from 1,300 followers March of 2017 to a little over a quarter of $1 million and doing 7 figures from the space. And so we kind of looked at each other, because you know how people usually will build a course and they kind of leave a lot of information out. It's very open-ended. Me and Alex got together and we said, man, are we really going to be as transparent as possible? And we're like, you know what? Yes, we are. We want to help people. We want people to become 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure earners from our course, because we love the testimony. We love to watch people grow. And so if you're interested, obviously, in kind of taking it a step further than just this podcast information, I would just really encourage you to check out officialmasterycourse.com/fire and take advantage of that 50% off, because on January 1, it's gonna double in price.
Wow. I mean, Fire Nation, what's really critical about being part of a community and of a course like this too, is things are going to change every single day, every single week, every single month. Things are going to change within Instagram, within its algorithms, within what's working, what's not working, new tips, new tools, new tactics. And just like we do with Podcasters Paradise, where when you're part of that podcasting community, you stay up to date, you stay cutting edge. We keep you updated with the latest and the greatest in the podcasting world, what's working. And it's even more important with a tool like Instagram, because it's just going at light speed all the time, mega speed all the time. So recognize when you're part of a course like this, you're also plugging into the latest and the greatest, because Ryan is going to continuously be updating, and he's going to let you know exactly what's going on right now, not yesterday, but right now. And that's so critical, because that can put you the step ahead to bring you to that 6, 7, and why not shoot for the moon? Who knows? Someday, maybe 8 figures, building a brand on Instagram for sure. So Fire Nation, what you want to do is head over to officialmasterycourse.com/fire. Go directly there. Of course, you'll be able to click on the link on the show notes page as well. But officialmasterycourse.com/fire will ensure that you lock in 50% off. It's going to double January 1st. So time is already ticking when you're hearing my voice right now. Ryan, before we let Fire Nation go, what do you want to say? Any last takeaways, last calls to action? Let's hear it right now.
Yeah, for sure. So the biggest thing is just get involved. You don't want to spend your life, on the sideline. Get on the playing field. Create success for your life. Anyone can do this. 18 months ago, literally, I was working a normal 9-to-5 job just like everyone else, and it's just crazy because you flash forward to today, and in under 2 years, to just be able to see the massive amounts of financial freedom I've been able to create for myself through the Instagram platform is just crazy. I mean, it's opened up so many doors. Even the fact I'm on this podcast with you now, John, is 100% related to, my Instagram kind of persona. And so, if you want to connect with me on Instagram, my username is @Ryan, RYAN, White, WHITE. And, if you want to check out my website as well, it's just officialryanwhite.com.
Fire Nation, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and you have been hanging out with RW and JLD today, so keep up the heat. Of course, you can head over to eofire.com, type Ryan in the search bar. The show notes page will pop up with everything we've been talking about, but your strong call to action, if you want to learn more, is head over to officialmasterycourse.com/fire. Lock in that 50%, make it happen. And Ryan, thank you, brother, for sharing your truth, your genius with Fire Nation today. For that, we salute you, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Thank you, John. I appreciate you having me.
Fire Nation, today's value bomb content was brought to you by Ryan White. He is just dropping firebombs left and right. Hope you enjoyed today's content. And if you want to accomplish your number one goal in 100 days, just visit thefreedomjournal.com and you will have the tools to do just that. Use promo code podcast as a thank you for listening to this podcast, and I will catch you on the flip side. Fire Nation, it's time to create financial and lifestyle freedom. So take action today and sign up for your free 14-day trial of ClickFunnels. As a reminder, ClickFunnels gives you everything you need to market, sell, and deliver your products online without having to hire or rely on a tech team. Visit eofire.com/click. That's eofire.com/click. Your future awaits.